I wasn't going to bother doing a video about this. I just started doing it, and I had some music blasting. And as I was doing it, and the specific reason I started doing it suddenly occurred to me, and the irony just seemed too good. This video is about Kiki's Fix Loose Joints, or as I call it, Kiki's Loose Joint Fix. I have a feeling this is a translation. But anyway, Kiki's Loose Joint Fix. If you look it up on Amazon or Mercari or eBay, you should be able to find it. And the thing is that this is basically a little bottle. And I've had this bottle about 5 years, and it's probably still about full up to here. Because you just use a tiny little drop of it in a loose joint on an action figure. And it restores the tolerance, as they call it, the level of stiffness in the joint to a point where they don't fall over all the time. And that's the problem that I was having. Well, and you may recall me talking about this because they are the bane of my existence. But Daredevil, Union Jack, and other Daredevil here, these are all Bucky Cap figures, and they all have these super tiny Bucky Cap feet. I mean, look at like Captain America here, Ultimate Captain America from 2023 or 2024, 2023, I think. His feet are like twice the size of the Bucky Cap feet, which doesn't mean that he didn't have loose feet, because he did. And he actually, as I've been talking about all my Captain Americas here the last few years, this guy has been kind of lingering in the background over here with the other Caps, because I've never really known what the hell to do with them. He doesn't really remind me of Ultimate Captain America from the actual comic book, The Ultimates, not in the same way that the Ultimate Iron Man does. That, to me, looks like Bryan Hitch's artwork through and through from the first issue of The Ultimates #1. This doesn't really remind me of Bryan Hitch's Captain America. And I used to have the angry head on it, and I had him all geared out with Valaverse stuff. I did give him a weapon that he's going to get back when he's done drying out here. Usually Iron Man we talk about drying out, but this is the AR. I think this is from G.I. Joe Classified series. Ultimate Captain America, I'm okay with him running around with a weapon, even though he is a living weapon. But, do you see what I mean, though? If you were a fan of the Ultimates, the Bryan Hitch and Mark Millar comic from the early 2000s, I mean, the one on the left, it definitely looks like it's from that book. The one on the right, I can vaguely see it in some of the costume design. Anthony's Customs, I watched a review as I was thinking about doing the repairs or fixes on this guy with my Kiki's Loose Joint Fix. And he said something about Iron Man or Captain America, Ultimate Captain America's gloves being the wrong color. I haven't even gone back and looked at a picture to reference that or be sure what he's even talking about. But I'm sure it's true, because it's just basically my sort of mind's eye view of Ultimate Captain America. This is almost there. But there are things about it that are off, and I can't really put my finger on it, even though I currently have my finger on it, fingers on it. But so all these guys had loose feet. All these guys had loose, and the Kiki's Loose Joint Fix, I probably don't use it as much as I should. What happens is, you see that the bottle has a little stopper that's on a thing here, and that you put it in the, maybe because I haven't been using that, I think this is the first time I've ever actually plugged the stopper into the bottle and then put the cap back on. What happens is, because it's floor wax, it is literally floor wax that someone puts in these little bottles, and the thing that makes the difference is, it's not a big jug of floor wax, and how do you get a little bit into the joints? It comes with this applicator, which is very, very tiny. And you see it has that tiny little hole right there. See it? Can you see the tiny little hole? Can you? Yeah. So you swap it out. You, starting from scratch, assuming you've already opened it, what I have to do is, and you may not have to do this the first time if you try it, but let's say I don't use this for 6 months or a year. I'm going to take this cap off, and I'm going to put the applicator cap on with the hole so the stuff can flow out of it. See, it doesn't flow out of it, this one, because it doesn't have a hole. And chances are, and it actually, I think it comes with this little tool. because I don't know where the hell else I would have gotten this. Or in my mind's eye, the last time I thought about Kiki's loose joint fix, I thought I just had like a sewing needle, but this looks like it was specifically designed for this job, and it works really well because you can stick the thin end of the needle in here down into here, so if there's any buildup of the floor wax, you can break it up, and more importantly, you can get it into this little tiny hole. You got to stick your little needle in this tiny hole and keep doing it until you see, daylight through it. Let's see. It might be all fogged up now or clogged up now. Oh, there it is. See? That's where the goo comes out. And if I showed it to you, the Kiki's Loose Joint Fix floor wax, that's definitely what it looks like. It looks like goo coming out of a tiny little hole. And do with that what you will. But what I did with it, and thank you, Kiki, if you're watching, this stuff is a lifesaver for action figures. The first time I ever became aware of it, I bought a bunch of old Toy Biz figures at a convention, and they were like $5 each at a toy show. And I was amazed because they were all like brand new. They were super stiff and nice and clean. And I asked the guy that was selling them how they were in such great shape after all these years. Some of those figures were, 20 years old at that point, or 19, 20 years old at that point. And he told me Kiki's Loose Joint Fix, and he told me microfiber cloth. So he uses microfiber cloth to, keep them free of dust and grime. And Kiki's Loose Joint Fix to bring the joints back to life. Now, the most extensive one that I did here was Union Jack, because I think he's probably, of these figures, the one I've had the longest. But his feet were loose, his knees were loose, and his torso was loose. So I put some Kikis in each of those joints, and he's stiffened up now. And Captain America, Ultimate Captain America, the only problem I had joint-wise with him was his feet, but they were so loose that any time that I would set him down, like the feet would just slowly start to topple over and get loose. And now you see that doesn't happen. The feet actually come off the ground because they are not super loose anymore. And I did it with all of these figures. Now, Daredevil, the two Daredevils, I gave them some stuff in the torso, too. The Bucky Cap body mold is notorious for having a loose torso. I'm trying to see if I have any residue I can show you. I tried to clean off all the excess floor wax. Let's see if you can see it, maybe. Not really. Well, maybe a little tiny bit of white right there in the middle between the foot and the bottom of the what's the word? Lower leg, near the ankle. There might be a little bit in there. It won't be there for long, though, because the nice thing about the Kiki's Loose Joint Fix is that it dries clear, so I don't worry too much about the excess floor wax. I just don't want a lot of buildup on the outside that I got to scrape off later. But I think maybe you can see some in his ankle there. Is that what I'm seeing? Yeah, there's a little Kiki's in there. See that white? And that will dry, and I'll be able to scrape it off with a paper towel, and it will be good as new. I've done this before many times. And it really is a way to bring action figures that are a little troublesome back to life. If you've got a loose torso joint, diaphragm joint, whatever, ab crunch, you don't really need it for the heads so much. I mean, you could use it if it's a little wobbly. If it's really super wobbly, you might need some sticky tack or blue tack. You can get that on Amazon too. Nice thing about the Kiki's Loose Joint Fix and the sticky tack is that you can buy a small amount of it. And because, for $5, $6, and, Kiki's might be 10 or 12 now that I think about it. But again, this has lasted me most of this decade. But the nice thing about Kiki's and the sticky tack, let's see, do I have a sticky tack here I can show you? I think I do. Yeah, this is what I use. I get it from, it's Loctite Fun Tack, they call it. And I get it in blue. See it in there? I keep it in a baggie so it doesn't dry out. But even if it does dry out, if you just, play with it a little bit in your hand, so to speak, it kind of gets its elasticity back. And nice thing about the blue tack, or as they call it, Fun Tack Loctite, and I think this was only $5 or $6 on, wow, that was amazing. Nobody fell over. Can you believe it? Don't take a drink. The nice thing is that both of these are relatively cheap. I mean, I haven't bought either in the new, nightmare hellscape economy, but I would imagine, relatively speaking, they're still fairly cheap, and they last a long time. Depending on what you're doing with them, they can last. Both of these, whoa, fell out of the package, and now it's gone. It's on the floor. I'll get it later. Anyway, they last for years, unless you're doing a lot more with your action figures than I am. And I do a lot with my action figures, I gotta tell you. I do. None of these guys really, I don't think, need any kikis. Although I should do a review. Everybody show me your feet. Show me your feet, everyone. Welcome to my fetish video. Whoa! Tony Masters fell over. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. He's right back on his feet. Tony Masters. What's his supervillain name again? I can't remember. Anyway, so the Kiki's Loose Joint Fix. If you've got action figures and their joints are getting loose, that's the juice. That is my slogan. And Kiki's, I will be expecting a check if you use that. If your joints are loose, use Kiki's juice. Stuff really does work, I swear to God. This is not a paid advertisement. It's not even an unpaid advertisement. It's just a little bit of advice. If you collect Marvel Legends or any action figures that are just plastic, I mean, you don't want to use this on anything that has soft goods. Even like with the Deadpool straps on the bottom. I think Union Jack may have had them first. I'm not sure. But anyway, with those straps down around his ankles, I did kind of inch those up a little bit. Just so that it wouldn't get any of the floor wax on them, because I don't want them. And again, it's not permanent. You can loosen it up. If that had happened and his little ankle things were stuck to him, I could just run it under hot water, and it will melt the floor wax away. In fact, I thought I might have to run some hot water through the applicator piece here. Oh, look at that. That is a thing of beauty when you see that light shining through the little hole, because your Kiki's is ready to go. You don't got to do any work on it. You don't got to stick your little needle in there and move it around until the goo starts flowing. Why does everything have to be dirty? Why? I don't know what you're talking about. Loose Joint Fix from Kiki's, Amazon, Mercari, eBay. You may be able to find it in other places. If they were smart, they'd be selling through like Big Bad Toy Store and any of the other online e-tailers that sell action figures, because it really is great stuff. I swear to God, Kiki's Loose Joint Fix is my favorite thing that is liquid that is not gin. It is my absolute favorite. And that's just a little piece of advice, free to you, courtesy of your old pal Avian and Loaded here on Action Figure Obsession. Thank you for stopping by. I've been meaning to do more of these sort of tools of the kit bashing trade videos. I might go over some more things maybe later today, dig out some more of the stuff that I always keep close to hand. Oh, which reminds me of close to hand. Remember we talked about this yesterday, how I painted the magazine on the Tech 9 here that came with Deadpool and Hydra Bob. Let's see how this looks, and then we'll check out. Well, it looks nice and shiny. Looks nice and silver. It's relatively clean. Doesn't look like there's too much overspray or overpaint. So I think that'll make that look better. Hey, let's find out. Let's find out real quick. Come here, Cap. Here, take it. Take it all. Yeah, all right. See that trigger guard? Stick your finger right in there. Stick your finger right in there, Cap. Come on, big boy. Oh, you missed. I know you can do it. Come on, Cap. Yep. Ooh. All right. If I had a tripod, everything would change. Somebody buy me a tripod. So there we go. How's that look? That look better? Better than just the all green? Marginally, at least, right? Marginally better? I think I did okay. I'm not proud. If my hands were a little less shaky, I might have maybe painted the barrel silver too, with the holes there, the vents. But You know, the only thing you don't want to paint, if you can avoid it, is like the actual grip. I wouldn't want to paint because I'm not sure if the paint would come off on the hands, and I don't want to wreck them. But when it's a part like that that doesn't get touched very often, the only time I touched it was to see if the paint was still tacky, and it dried pretty quick. Um, but I mean, that zhuzhes him up a little bit, right? If he was using that gun, he used to have that gun, but I think I'm going to give him this one instead. It's more, more of a heavy duty. He's got a mission to complete kind of weapon, and that's more like, hey, I'm robbing the bank. Hands up, everybody. All right. Again, Kiki's loose joint fix, and who makes the blue tack again? Who makes the blue tack again? Loctite, Loctite, Loctite. Main thing I use the Loctite blue tack, sticky tack, fun tack, and if you look up any of those terms, you'll find it on Amazon. The main thing I use that for is when I've got a head where the peg hole in the head is too big for the actual peg on the neck of the figure. And sometimes that happens with G.I. Joe Classified if you're swapping heads around, because they started off with a Marvel Legends size peg for the necks and very quickly went to a much smaller, like maybe half or a third the size of the peg for the Marvel Legends figures. So if you're swapping back and forth, and the head is wobbly on the peg, that Loctite Fun Tack, I like the blue one. I don't know why. I heard it was called blue tack. I've heard many things. There are many rumors in these old woods. But yeah, really, if you've got some sticky tack and you've got some Kiki's loose joint fix, probably 65% of your action figure problems, if you collect 1/12 scale 6-inch action figures that are just made out of ABS and PVC plastic, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. It's going to solve most of your problems. And then if you get like a Dremel, which I don't have, I should get a Dremel. That's like a little tiny drill that you could use to like increase the size of the peg hole, or, work away, some of the other stuff. But anyway, that's going to do it for this Action Figure Obsession. I got a call coming in. I'm going to run. Catch me on the next time here on Action Figure Obsession.